If this kind of story keeps you up at night, like, comment, share, and subscribe, because there are more cases just like this one waiting for you on this channel. Deep inside the Ohio prison system, investigators uncovered something that should have been impossible to hide. Inmates who had served their time, legally eligible for release, but who never walked out. Not because of paperwork errors, not because of clerical delays, because somewhere along the way, the system decided these people were simply too broken to send back into the world. The facility was a mid-security correctional institution in rural Ohio, the kind of place that rarely makes national headlines. But in the mid-2000s, a routine state audit flagged something deeply wrong. Dozens of inmates had passed their minimum release dates, some by months, others by years. And yet, they remained behind bars. What investigators found when they started pulling records was worse than anyone expected. Several of these men and women had developed severe mental illness during their incarceration, conditions that prison staff had documented, but never properly treated. Instead of transferring them to psychiatric facilities or initiating release protocols, staff had quietly reclassified them, filed extensions, buried the paperwork. One man, held more than 3 years past his release date, had spent the final 2 of those years in solitary confinement. The official reason listed in his file: he was a danger to himself. The unofficial reason, according to a whistleblower who came forward years later, was that nobody wanted the liability of releasing someone that unstable back into society. The whistleblower, a corrections officer with over a decade on the job, said he started keeping his own records after watching a fellow officer shred a release order. He kept those records in a shoebox under his bed. That shoebox eventually ended up in the hands of a journalist. And when that story finally broke, Ohio launched a formal investigation. What they uncovered pointed not just to individual misconduct, but to a systemic culture of neglect stretching across multiple facilities. A quiet agreement among administrators that some inmates were better forgotten than freed. Several officials were quietly reassigned. No criminal charges were ever filed. The men and women who lost those years never fully got them back. Most of their cases were settled out of court, under confidentiality agreements that ensured the details would stay sealed. Ohio's forgotten souls swallowed by a system that found it easier to keep them than to fix them. And if that story shook you, there are more cases buried just as deep waiting on this channel. The full picture is even darker than what fits into minutes, and this is only the beginning.